anytime I can have somebody new on, it's always excitement. And obviously, the season you're having right now is spectacular. It's really it's great to see. Obviously, been out, seen you at a couple meets, and you just tear it up. You make it look so easy out there. Um, but before we get into anything running related, I always start off with how'd you start? Like, what's the story? How did you start running?
So my dad was a runner. Well, he like still is a runner. But he kind of got me into running. I would go on runs with him a lot when I was like younger, and I kind of discovered that I really liked it and found a lot of joy in it. And so I started running 5Ks with my dad, kind of just for fun. And it wasn't really ever serious early on until like I joined Girls on the Run, and that was pretty fun. Still wasn't very serious then, and yeah, after Girls on the Run, I kind of wanted to keep running, and so that's when I decided to just join cross country, not really to like be serious about it or anything, but just to like kind of get started, maybe just like as something to do while in high school or while in middle school and high school. And so it was never really serious to begin with, but then like I kind of really enjoyed it my first season, and I was like, I really want to get better at this. So then I like started running a lot more.
Um, yeah, you kind of see that sometimes with like parents ran, and then you guys kind of start running as well. Did you play any other sports like prior to that, or no? Was like running kind of the first thing?
I did like a few other sports. I tried soccer, and that was honestly a pretty good sport. But I kind of found myself more in running, so that's why I like stuck with it once I got to running.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, hobbies. What are we doing like outside of running when we're not killing ourselves with miles?
Um, Outside of running, I play the piano, and so that's always been fun for me. It's like a nice, like relaxing thing to do, other than like kind of killing my body. Um, I also enjoy like traveling a lot too, just with my family. Um, and and I also enjoy writing as well. I've always been a pretty good writer, so just those type of things.
No, that's cool. Piano. I think Jackson Wright when he was on, I think he said he played piano. But there haven't been too many musicians. A few, but not too many. So that's really cool. What about travel? You said you like to travel. Is there any like place specifically you've been to that you like, or?
I love traveling to the beach. We like every year our family goes to Marco Island, which is in Florida, and that's so fun. So I really like traveling to beaches.
Yeah, Florida. That's where I'm originally from. So shout out to Florida. All right. So really want to talk first off. We're gonna back up just a bit and talk about summer training. How do you think that went overall? Did you kind of knock out everything you wanted to? Was there like training runs? Like, did you get your distance up to where you wanted to? A certain amount of miles each week?
I actually think the summer training was really good this year. I did a lot of strength training along with like long runs and speed workouts, and I was focused a lot like on pacing during the summer, like trying to actually like hit my paces right because like I used to kind of not really care about that as much, and then like this season and like the season prior, like I've like really been like focused on like hitting paces and workouts and stuff, and so that actually went pretty well during the summer. And I did a few running camps during the summer as well. USC running camp and Smoky Mountain, Nike Smoky Mountain running camp. Those were two really good camps that kind of got me ready for the season. And then just like, yeah, a lot of strength training as well.
Yeah, going to camp is always a fun thing. I think it like not just for like obviously the training and the amount of like girls and guys you're around, only kind of makes it even better. And obviously the more people you have around you kind of makes those easy runs feel even easier. But it's always good just like having fun. I think those camps do a great job at kind of promoting that. When you talk about or when you see like the early success that you've had this season specifically, I guess I don't want to say did you expect it, but did you have like what were the goals prior to coming into the season?
Honestly, I wasn't really like expecting a lot because last cross country season wasn't the best for me at all, and so I was very unsure about how this season would go. like I had a good track season, but just the season before that for cross country was just not great for me. My iron was low. I was just a lot of things I was struggling with. And so the very first race of the season wasn't like fantastic, but it really wasn't that bad. And so that kind of gave me like hope going into the season. And then like the next race went really well, and I got that got me really excited for the season because I didn't think I'd be able to do that.
Yeah, was there a time in mind prior to the season that you thought like was the goal, or was there anything like that?
Um, my goal was probably just like under 18 this season. Last cross country season, I only improved by like 10 seconds that season, so I like wasn't expecting early on to be hitting like really close to my PR, but like I did really soon, so that was really exciting.
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, fourth at Eye Opener, second at Trojan, and then the win at your home meet and the win at Warrior. So obviously, like you're finishing up in the top. Um, when I guess even just starting off at Eye Opener, did you again? I hate like I hate using the word expect because I feel like we expect so much about ourselves all the time. But I mean, I feel like that performance right there really put you like in the spotlight of like, okay, like who is she
Yeah.
leading Fort Mill now? Is that how it kind of felt for you, or like was it a shock, or because obviously we don't see the summer as well, so we're not, you know, we don't see that you're running up there and like really challenging for kind of top spot on the team right there. But so was it kind of a shock, or was it something you were kind of like they're gonna know like I'm here?
It was like definitely a shock for me because even I didn't really think I was like capable of that at that point in the season. And so that race was just like very exciting for me because fourth place finish was like was very strong. I didn't get in the top 10 before that. And so at the eye opener race last year. And so I was very happy of how I did, and that was like very unexpected for me, but that just really got me confident going into the season. So yeah, it was a really good race.
Yeah, I can only imagine that like finishing so high and just be like okay, well, like here we go. This is gonna be a heck of a season. Was there again, and I mentioned eye opener so much because again, it kind of like you said, it kind of was a little bit of shock to just like look around and like holy crap, like I'm up in the front now. Was there a game plan going into that, like to put yourself in that position, or was it just kind of sitting back like with your teammate or what?
I didn't have like a particular game plan. Like I think I was more focused on getting out of the front pack and just seeing how I felt since it was pretty early in the season. I really didn't know what to expect. But then like as the race went on, I like was feeling very strong in it, and I was like this is going to be a good race. And so then I just kind of started moving up, like kind of passing a lot of people and getting to the front, and that's where I realized that like it was going to be a really good race for me.
Yeah, and so we move obviously on to Trojan and Warrior, and obviously your home meet. We got your PR there. Um, Again, like even for those kind of meets, now that we get out of eye opener, you see that you are a girl that kind of hey, you deserve to be at the front. Does that make your like game plan, I guess, change at all during any of those races? Because obviously, Trojan, you had competition there. I mean, you've had competition basically everywhere, especially with your teammate, who she can turn on the switch at any time. I'm sure. But yeah, do you have any type of game plan that you like to kind of go towards? Like, do you like sitting back the first mile, or you like kicking at like mile two or anything?
Honestly, it's like kind of changed per race, but I think what's worked for me is more taking the first mile a little slower than like the rest of the miles, or at least like the beginning, just kind of sitting back and getting into a pace, and then when I'm feeling strong, start like pushing. But I feel like it's also been helping to kind of immediately go into a rhythm each time I'm in a race. Like I always notice I like find the rhythm pretty easily in a race, and just like kind of doing that has really helped me.
Yeah. Um, so kind of out, not even an out there question, but do you eat food before a race, or is it like a no go? I can't eat anything.
Um, I do. I eat food like 3 hours before, or 2 to 3 hours before. I usually will eat like a bagel or some sort of some cereal or something. I can't really run off of no food.
Really, I have to. I cannot eat food
Yeah.
prior to it. Yeah, like it, and but it's funny because I had somebody on here too, and it's like, yeah, I have to shut it off at a certain time. So 3 hours. So that's does it change at all for like obviously with Starlight being uh postponed, that is like kind of a new not a new challenge, but that's a challenge in itself because it is such like a later race in the evening. Um, do you like how would you kind of balance that? Like, are you somebody who's gonna like, I'm still gonna eat 3 meals, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or and then have a snack prior to the race? Like, how do you kind of manage that?
I usually have a very early dinner. Before Starlight, I have a go-to dinner that I always eat, and so I just eat that before Starlight and just every race in general.
Oh wow. So even like on like Fridays the night prior, or
Yeah, the
is
night
it like
prior, yeah, I have a dinner that I always eat.
what is that? I'm curious now.
Hibachi chicken and white rice.
Really? That okay?
Yeah.
Most people would be like the whole pasta thing, but okay, okay, that's cool.
My,
That's different. Yeah, no, totally. Like, hey, rituals. I mean, do you have any like other kind of rituals, like certain socks that you wear? Like, you have to wear a certain pair of socks too, or no?
no. It's mainly just the eating one. I just always eat the same,
Just the food.
yeah, the same meal beforehand.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Different, but cool. So the 1806 PR, going into that, did you? I guess did you notice how fast you were going in particular, like during that thing, or no?
I definitely did notice it. Before that race, I was actually not feeling my best. Like, I was really kind of tired and just, I think the heat was getting to me beforehand. And so I was
Yeah.
actually pretty nervous before that race. I don't really know why. It wasn't a big meet. But immediately once it started, I felt really good in that one. Like, I just noticed that I was feeling so strong, and it felt almost as if I had like started a 3200 and I just went immediately into a rhythm. And I just started like kind of going at that rhythm and running, and I was feeling so strong. I just remember I was like I knew it was going to be a good race kind of as the race went on. And so I was just mainly able to push the whole way, and that's when I realized like it was going to be a good time, and it was.
Yeah. And so when you go through like the first mile, do you notice that? Like, do you notice like the splits or at all? Or like, when was that kind of moment? Was it the first mile when you noticed, or was it just like at 800? It's like, okay, things are really clicking today.
I think the very first mile I realized I was feeling pretty good and ready
Yeah.
to.
So when, and that course is like, um, a bit unique in a way because you don't really see spectators out there. Like, you do the loop, the circle, and then kind of come back. So you don't really hear anybody. You don't see your parents or you don't see coaches or whatnot. But do you normally hear them at all? Like hear parents or coaches during a race, or is it kind of like the blinders are on?
Uh, Sometimes I feel like I don't hear them, but like a lot of the time I do hear them, especially because my dad's like yelling directly at me, kind of trying to communicate with me and stuff. And so I feel like I do notice it a lot of time, unless it's like a huge crowd and everybody's like yelling at once, then I'm kind of like kind of tone it out a little bit. But usually my dad's at a spot where there's not a lot of people and I can kind of just like listen to him usually.
Yeah, no, that's cool. When I would say, what are we? We're like halfway through the season by now, and it's crazy because I feel like the season just started.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously, like you've been able to see, uh, you know, the races play out, where you kind of fit into the mold of everything. Um, is there anything like, do you have a moment in the race, at least now, that you're kind of like, all right, like this is something I need to work on. I need to kick now, or like, what are you focusing on to kind of, obviously the big day in November is going to be the most important race. So what are you kind of working on right now to make sure you're set up for success then?
I feel like a lot of the time in races, I get very like, well, I feel like I struggle pushing later on in the race. Like maybe it's like around the halfway point where I kind of get like lost, or I kind of just kind of get lost or like lose a lot of focus. I feel like in the race, and a lot of the time I feel like I kind of like I don't realize that I just have like it's just 1 mile left, but in my mind that just feels like so long, so I don't want to like push for that long, so I just like kind of let myself settle in a little bit too much, and I definitely think I could work a lot on that. A lot of the time when I'm pacing off of somebody, I usually will let them get away for like a few seconds and then I'll just like follow behind them. I don't let them get any further, but I just like follow behind. I feel like I just kind of like lose focus like that sometimes, and that's something I definitely need to work on for states.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting one. Because I tell people like, I mean, I tell my daughter all the time, like, yeah, like zone out, if you can, But um, I mean, for you though, it seems like it does work that you're able to kind of like catch yourself again and be able to close any gap that did happen. Um, I'm curious, like, also, when I used to run, I was like I would think of something that like I'd kind of be like you, I'd kind of like zone out a bit and lose focus a little bit, but I'd be thinking like, all right, like what am I doing after the race? What am I gonna eat? I'm starving. Where's the food? Like, do you think of anything like that, or like what are you thinking of? Like, what time's lunch or something? Like, what can we do after the race or what?
I feel like I kind of just I don't really know what I think about. I don't I feel like I'm more just like I'm focused on the race, but I think I'm focused a lot on like the pain I'm feeling mainly. Like I'm like I feel so bad right now. Like let me just like relax for a little bit. That's kind of what I'm focused on. I feel like I have before thought of like I can't wait to get Gatorade once this race is over, but it's more just like about how I'm feeling whenever I like lose focus like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because like as runners, we put ourselves through this like crazy intense race, and it's like, oh, we could just stop at any point, but we don't. I mean, you keep going, and you eventually get to where you think, hey, the race is almost over, and I can kind of kick. Um, I do want to mention about like Fort Mill, and there's like I don't want to say well, maybe we could say a standard. I think there's definitely like a notion that Fort Mill is like on a pedestal, like as far as like you guys are so iconic. It's such an iconic running program. The guys and the gals, like there's an expectation there, I think, of like to compete every year. Do you feel that way, that there is like those kind of expectations to have a good team every single year?
Honestly, I kind of do feel that way just because of like all the past success our team has had. And so that makes sometimes that'll make racing a little bit more stressful, but I try to tone that out a little bit and not think about that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I tell people too, a lot of coaches as well, is like, every team's different. Every year is going to be a different team, no matter what. There's always new personalities and whatnot, and so you can't always kind of judge back on a team. But you are leading this Fort Mill team right now. Was that a bit of a shock to you, or did you know what I mean? Like, was that weird, kind of being like the number one girl right now, or no? Because there is a little bit more pressure now that you kind of are like the face of the franchise in a way, you know?
Yeah. I think it was a little like I think I was a little shocked by it at first, but I've been training really hard, so I think I also just kind of got into that spot, kind of got like yeah, just settled into that. So
Yeah. So when like I said, we're kind of midway through the season, and we're getting towards the bigger meets, I guess, per se. Um, you know, we talked about maybe losing focus and kind of focusing on that. Is there anything else you think that you need to really work on to kind of finish up the season and hopefully be crowned a state champion at the end of the day?
definitely sleep. I struggle a lot getting like enough sleep before racing and workouts. That's definitely something I need to work on before the end of the season.
Wow, that's an interesting one. I'm assuming like school homework, is that kind of the balance of it all?
Yeah, I think mainly my issue is that I'm just very tired and kind of work slowly through my homework at night and also get caught up with my phone. And so I feel like I'm kind of up a little way too late than I should be for it being like with all the running I'm doing. And so that's something I definitely need to work on.
Well, that honestly, kudos to you for even just like acknowledging that and understanding like, okay, these are things like, yeah, maybe the next month or so, like tighten it up a bit. Something I kind of like to ask at the end of these is really like advice. I think you'd be shocked at how many, especially how many girls like look up to you now, because you are, this, up there kind of runner, and obviously again with Fort Mill. What kind of advice would you give to, the seventh, eighth grader or the freshman starting cross country and kind of being like, I want to be like you?
I would say that it's like it's just a big process, and that you're gonna have bad days like a lot. Like you've got to expect that there's gonna be so many obstacles that you have to just navigate through, and that not every day is gonna be perfect. That's kind of what I needed to realize early on because I would have a lot of bad days, and that's where I kind of figured out I needed to adjust stuff and fix some things. But bad days are just a part of like the process in cross country. And so I would say probably just be expecting to have, you're going to have bad days every once in a while. It's not like progress is not linear. And so just kind of keep it up, even with the bad days, just keep going and it will come. Like your success will come eventually.
No, well said, well said. Um, Last thing here, I know we mentioned like sub 18 is pretty much the time goal, and obviously I can only assume like team title is number one for the team. Do you think you have like do you think you're in that shape right now and you just kind of it just has to be the kind of the right race to make it happen, or do you think like there like I said there still is maybe some things to fine tune to get under the 18 mark?
I do think I'm in the shape right now. I just need to have the right race. A lot of races in the a few of the races that I've had so far, I've kind of felt a little fatigued in, and so I just think if I can fix the sleep issue a little bit more, and then just race with a lot of competition, like the race coming up that we're doing, Great American, that always brings out a lot of competition. Um, I feel like I could probably do it in one of those bigger meets.
Yeah, Great American is going to be. I was just talking to a guy the other day about Great American, and because he ran 15:10 at Adidas this past weekend. And, have you ran at Wake Med before? Have you ran over there?
Yes, I really like that course.
Yeah, it's a tough course. It's a tough course, but it produces great times. Like I think if you if you don't take it almost like serious enough, that hill can kind of get you. But if you're good at hills and you're able to kind of get up there, obviously three times. Is it three? No, it's two times. Two times. Then obviously like yeah, sky's the limit of running a fast time there. Okay, so Great American's coming up. You're in sub 18 shape. That like honestly, sky's the limit, I guess. Here, honestly, I want to say thank you for coming on. Huge excitement around what you're doing, what your team's doing, as always. I don't see you like came on the scene like crazy, but it does seem that way. Like again with the eye opener finisher, obviously being that top girl now at Fort Mill. Kudos to you, and just keep doing what you're doing. And we're gonna be watching, and I'd love to have you back on. Hopefully by the end of the season, and we're talking about a state title and how that all went down. So thanks for coming on. Seriously.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.